This is the quadratic formula. Before we start, you will need a pen or pencil, paper, and graph paper. Pause the movie now if you need to get them and play them when you are ready. Welcome back. This is the quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. To use the quadratic formula, you must use factoring and use the zero product property. You can solve any quadratic equation with the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is just a simpler way of factoring equations. This is the quadratic equation. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. To find the variables for the quadratic formula, you must use the quadratic equation. To find these variables, simply take your equation and where the numbers are substituted for the letters, you know that's what the variables equal. For example, if you had the equation 4x squared plus 3x plus 5, the numbers have just replaced the letters, so compare and you know your variables. For this equation, a equals 4, b equals 3, and c equals 5. To solve the quadratic formula, you simply plug in the variables you got from the quadratic equation. Plugging it in. As you know, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So you take the a's value and you plug it into where the a's are, the b for the b's, and the c for the c. For example, if you had the variables of a equals 2, b equals 4, and c equals 6, you would simply plug them in and solve. It would look like this. Before solving, you need to remember non-negative numbers have both a positive and negative square root. The sign plus or minus tells us that there may be two solutions to your equation. Solving the quadratic formula. So y equals 2x squared plus x minus 6. So a equals 2, b equals 1, and c equals negative 6. Now you plug them in. So, taking the a's, you plug them into where the a's go. Taking the b's, you plug them into where the b's go. And taking the c, you plug it into where the c goes. Now combining like terms, you start combining. Negative times 1 is negative 1. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And 2 times 2 is 4. You do this more. 1 squared is 1, and negative 8 times negative 6 is 48. 1 plus 48 is 49, so it becomes the square root of 49. So negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 49 over 4. So negative 1 plus or minus 7 over 4, because the square root of 49 is 7. Now to find the values of both of the x's, you use both the positive and negative signs. X equals negative 1 plus 7 over 4, so x equals 6/4 or 3/2, and x equals negative 1 minus 7 over 4, so x equals negative 8/4 or x equals negative 2. So another example. Y equals x squared plus 6x plus 9. So a equals 1, b equals 6, and c equals 9. Plugging them in, you get this. Now you start to combine like terms. Negative times 6 is negative 6. 6 squared is 36. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. And 2 times 1 is 2. Negative 4 times 9 is negative 36. So you get to negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 0 over 2. Because there is no square root of 0, it becomes negative 6 over 2. So x equals negative 3. You try now. Here's your equation. Pause the movie now, and when you are done solving, play it again to see the answer. Welcome back. You need to put the equation in standard form. So after you get into standard form, equals y equals x squared plus 8x plus 16. Because negative 16 is on this side, you need it on this side to make it into standard form. So you add 16 to both sides. So this side cancels, and this side gets 16. So a equals 1, b equals 8, and c equals 16. Plugging these in, you get this, and combining like terms, you get negative times 1 is negative 1, 8 squared is 64, and negative 4 times 1 is negative 4 times 16. 2 times 1 is 2. So negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 64 minus 64, because negative 4 times 16 is negative 64. So x equals negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 0 over 2. Because there is no square root of 0, you get x equals negative 1/2 or negative 0.5. Graphing the quadratic equation. To graph the quadratic equation, you must find the x and y points. To do this, you make a chart. So our equation is y equals x squared plus 4x plus 2. To get your points for x, you may choose any number on the x-axis and use it as x. To get y, you plug x into your equation and solve. For example, in this equation, if you chose 3 for your x, it would be 3 squared plus 4 times 3 plus 2, because you have plugged in 3 for your x, because x equals 3. So 9 plus 12 plus 2 equals 23. So doing this for all of your numbers, you would get this chart. Using this chart, you take your points from your chart and you graph them on a piece of graph paper. It looks like this. This type of graph is called a parabola. You try one. Here's your equation. Pause the movie now and play it when you are ready to get your answer. Welcome back. Let's get this answer. Here's the chart using the x values of negative 1 to 3 and plugging them in to solve for y. Now, using these values, you plug them in. Your graph should look something like this. Reviewing the quadratic equation. Solving for a, b, and c. Ax squared plus bx plus c is the equation you use. So using this, you can solve for a, b, and c with any quadratic equation. Example, 2x squared plus 4x plus 5. A has been replaced by 2, so you know a equals 2. B has been replaced by 4, so you know b equals 4. And c has been replaced by 5, so you know c equals 5. Plugging it in. This is the quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, as you know. Here's your equation. 5x squared plus 3x plus 3. So a equals 5, b equals 3, and c equals 3. Now plugging these in, you get this. Combining like terms, you get 9. 3 squared is 9. So, and negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. 2 times 5 is 10. So eventually you get to negative 3 plus or minus the square root of negative 51 over 10. Because negative 51 is negative, it is impossible to get a square root. Therefore, this is as far as you can simplify this quadratic equation. There is no answer. Congrats! You now know how to graph and solve the quadratic formula.